All right, guys, thank you
Uh,
for joining us. This is the first episode of the I5 Sports Ride, a sports podcast, of course. My name is Brooks Moeller, and we got my co host.
I'm Mitchell Margris.
Yep, and this is something that we have been wanting to do for a long time. But finally, it just took a pandemic for us to sit down and finally say, you know what? We're freaking doing this. We are doing this. We think we have some good sports knowledge to share with you guys, and we're excited to do so.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I love the pandemic comment. That's all it took. It's
That's
just
all it
a
took.
wee little
Yeah,
pandemic to
we
get
little
us
pandemic,
rolling.
and I think that's good for a lot of honestly like for a lot of people it's kind of like just like some self realization. Be like, you know what, like this is time to like do stuff that I wouldn't normally have time to. Like my roommates are taking up new things and stuff, and I think it's good for a lot of people to just kind of just think about life. You know, just here we are, and what to
Right?
do now.
Do you know how many people have done like home projects and stuff in the
For
last
sure,
couple of weeks?
yeah, yeah,
Like crazy.
yeah. My roommate took on. He started playing guitar again, so that's pretty cool. And
I
yeah,
I picked up a guitar too.
yeah.
I
You started
mean,
singing
I don't
too.
really I really don't play it
Yeah,
great, but
and started singing a little bit too.
oh yeah,
I know
I do my thing
you were on worship team
sometimes.
a little bit too, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mainly play the bass on there. I could sing a
yeah,
little bit, but not fantastically. Not like that
yeah.
Jones Jr. guy over there.
Dude, Jones
Good.
Jr.'s got it. He's got it.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that just definitely the weirdest part has been without not being able to watch any live sports right now. That's
For sure.
definitely the problem, and that's why I think it's cool to start a podcast like this because a lot of people need more sports content like this, and sometimes it gets a little boring coming from the same guys over and over again. The guys in Sports Center, the Colin
Yep.
Cowherds of the world, like so. We hope to give you guys a different perspective and all that, and just have fun with it because that's what we want to do. We love sports and we love to share it with you guys, and we love
Yeah,
talking about it with each
for
other.
sure.
And
And it's gonna be fun to kind of open it here because it's like we're gonna be covering things that maybe we wouldn't normally cover if we would have started this with
mm-hmm,
a full blown sports season going on and everything. Because we're not gonna have like highlights from games every day and all that stuff, but it'll be some interesting stuff. We get to dive a little deeper into some things, and then by the time that sports kind of roll back around, Brooks and I should probably have our feet wet by then and kind of our ground underneath us, and we're gonna be ready to
for
roll.
sure, yeah. And even like at that point, it'd be like almost too much stuff coming in our way, and now we can just like hone in on one thing and
Yep.
just go with it. Yeah. But the good thing is that a little bit of live sports are coming back with some baseball going on. That's the
Yeah.
KBO. Finally, ESPN struck a deal with them. They're going to start broadcasting games. Watched a little bit of them today, and that was fun. What do you think about that?
I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I watched some last night, like the first couple innings of the game, the first one that they did, but the time difference is kind of gonna be. I originally I was thinking, oh man, that's gonna be killer because it's gonna be like midnight or two
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the morning when they're on all that stuff, and then I kind of realized that we're in a modern day, so I could watch replays the next day. So I didn't watch them today because I just realized that as I was speaking, but I will be watching the replays during normal times during day from here on out.
There you go. Yeah, no, I saw a little bit of the re-air today between the Samsung Lions. The Samsung Lions is that's a little crazy. Come on,
Come on. I mean, Samsung's probably huge over there, so
for
that makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, and was it the DC Dinos or something? I don't know,
Something like that,
but
yeah.
Mitch and I have already adopted our team, of course. The Lote Giants, Loot
Yep.
Giants. I'm sorry if I'm botching that name. If you
We
guys are big
probably are,
KBO,
but
if
it's
you guys
okay.
are big KBO fans, I'm sorry. I apologize.
And
But our boy
we
Daeho Lee is on the team, and we love that guy.
love
Beast,
him. He
clutch
was number
for
10, number 10 on the Mariners,
what
number
what
1 in our hearts.
what year? What year was that anyway? I can't remember.
Was it 17?
17. Were we good that year? Or
I mean, that
was
was
it
a like
like
it was
85 win
from
year?
like from like 15 to 18 we had a stretch of like super high hopes because we
So
won some games and
yeah.
then we would blow it at the end kind of
So
thing.
there was that year where we signed Cano the first year, and we were one game away from the wild card, and then next year we signed Cruz,
Yep.
and then and then people were like predicting us to go to the World Series and stuff, but then it completely underperformed. Was that Dejo's year, or was that a year after?
No, see, I don't think Daeho came right with them. I think he came a couple years after Kano.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But I was
I
hyped
think
I was hyped when we signed him because I looked him up. I'm like, wow, this guy just hits tanks in Korea.
yeah,
Like,
and he takes huge
yeah,
hacks.
huge
Like
daddy
it's
hacks.
home
Yeah,
run or bust. And he had a phenomenal first half of the year for us. Like
yeah,
was on pace for probably like rookie of the year kind of stuff. And
yeah.
then people went to the All-Star break and probably watched some film
Rookie of the
and
year
were
at like
like, "Hey,
30, at 30 years old.
yeah, you see that movie Major League with Serrano that can't hit curveballs? Well, that's Daeho Lee."
Yep,
And I think he decided to go back to Korea after
that's
that.
him. Okay, I just pulled him up. Let's see here. Okay, so he played in 2016.
16 year
16.
off game.
So I think that was a year after we signed Nelson Cruz. I think that was the year we won like 85 games. We were just like a few games out of the wild card or something.
Yeah,
But
I believe so.
yeah, so he hit 14 bombs with 49 ribbies.
Were
Hit
those
hit
all in the first
253.
half of the year?
Yeah, I want to see his first half splits. Those are on Baseball Reference, right?
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure that he was the year too where were we in Baltimore? It was either Baltimore or San Diego and we were down like 14 runs
San Diego.
and came back. It was
San
San
Diego.
Diego,
Yeah, we
yeah,
were down
and
like
he
12
put
to
one up in
0.
those like kind of like apartment building looking things in the
Yeah.
left field line.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was
Yep.
pretty sick.
Yeah, also remember the one he had a walk off home run at home, and
Uh-huh.
I just remember the roof being closed.
Yep.
I don't know. I just picture that Dayo just hitting a bomb to left field with the roof closed. That's what I picture. I don't know why, but I just have that in my head.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
whenever somebody hits a home run, the first thing I look at is the roof open or closed?
Yep.
I'm right there with you.
Yep. Yep. Changes the airflow or whatever that carries balls out.
For
But
sure, because
yeah,
78% of Cano's home runs came with the roof closed. So
is that actually true?
no, not at all.
That'd be actually cool if they start keeping stats of how many home runs are hit when the roof is closed.
You know they have that. Have you
Do you
seen
think they
some of the
do?
stuff that they pull out on SportsCenter? They're like, "Did you know that
Yeah,
LeBron
this
on Tuesdays in the month of March with the
the
degrees over 75,
yeah,
he
and then
he averages 45 points."
and then at the bottom is like source Elias Sports Bureau or whatever.
Yeah. I
Or
want to
we
work for
can
them.
or we can just start like ourselves going through every single Mariner game and every home run
I'm down.
since 1999. Just taking
I'm
note
pretty
of what home runs were roof closed,
I
roof
don't know if
open.
we're going to be able to go back to 1999, but I know that like the MLB at Bat app has games back from like 2016 or something like that.
See, that'd be skewed data. That wouldn't work.
Or we could just go from last year.
Yeah. Or we break into the Mariners vault
I'm down.
and
Definitely down.
I bet they have film from every single game.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I haven't really noticed anyone else I know in the KBO yet though.
Taylor Motter's in the KBO.
That's right. Who's he play for?
I have no clue, but I saw a tweet and he's on a team that is red. That's all I know.
Team that's red. I don't know my KBO teams well enough yet, but do you think he still has the flow going?
Oh, he does. He
Yes.
had the golden locks coming out of his helmet and everything.
Yo, he was actually kind of clutch for us. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, he was
The
really
first
like
2 weeks of the
he was
season,
really he was really spotty, but it seemed to be when he was on his highs, it was like moments that we needed him.
yeah. I remember he hit a grand slam at one point, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, but I think for a little bit, I thought he was like the shortstop of the future.
Right? Like that blue chip that we found in nowhere's land.
But I think with Mariner fans, we always like if one guy has like a little bit of a hot streak at the beginning of their call up, we're like, oh, he's the future. Like, I feel like Mariner fans everywhere go
Future.
through that, and we saw that. I don't know. This last year was rough though, and I don't necessarily see a bunch of people like um, this last year at least that will be a part of our future, but we'll see.
Yeah, last year was a lot of plug and play kind of stuff, like get us through
Yeah,
this year.
yeah,
And I think that this year was going to kind of be around the same area. A lot of veterans like plug into spots and everything. I mean, you've
yeah,
got people like JP Crawford and Shed Long, and I mean Evan White was supposed to start this year, and
yeah,
I personally think that Malix is going to be a future part, but who knows with our outfield situation. But I
yeah.
mean, other than a lot of those guys, like those couple guys, a lot of it was like, okay, we'll sign you for a year and then give us a year of work, and then we're bringing the new guys up next year.
That's the thing. We just have so much outfield depth in our farm system. That's like, is there a
So
spot for Alex? Is there a spot for Jake Fraley? Is there a spot for Braden Bishop? And that's the
right,
thing. But that's the key is you need to keep building that depth because then you can use those as trade pieces down the road. And I think
oh
that's
for
huge.
sure,
And
for sure. And I'm gonna drop it right here. If you're watching, Jose Siri. Jose Siri.
We waived him.
Jose
We
Siri.
waived him.
No, we did not.
I'm pretty sure we waived
Did
him.
we seriously?
Yeah, I think we
I don't
DFA'd
think
him.
so.
I think we DFA'd him.
I don't think we DFA'd him. I think we just dropped him out of big league camp, I thought.
I don't know. I don't know.
I really hope not, because that dude.
I thought I remember him. Maybe we sent him down the minor league camp, but
See, I think he just left big league camp like with Julio and all of them when they were like, yeah, not quite.
I sure hope not. But he's yeah. Everything I watch of him though, he just strikes out all the time. It's either bomb or
But
strike out with him.
but how did Javier Baez look when he first started? He was the same way because he just came from his Dominican Republic league where all he did was just like Dejo Lee, where he
That's
just
true, but
swung
he
for
was a
home
little
runs.
more of like a top prospect though.
Just a little.
So little. Like I'm pretty sure he was just like a prodigy.
That's not a big deal.
Yeah. I'm not finding anything about Jose Siri being waived, so he might be still around. But
I think he just got dropped down into the
maybe
minor
that
league.
might have been it.
I sure hope so. If not, then look for him somewhere else because he's gonna make a.
Yeah, but that was a really good
somewhere.
waiver claim because I saw a bunch of Reds fans on Twitter be like, reply to this tweet saying that we claimed him. They're like, what? No, like
Yeah, they were upset.
they're upset, and that's a good sign when the opposing fans are upset because usually when you claim someone new or get a trade from someone, they're like, good, like he sucks.
We're like we had that guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the Mariners, I feel like we're getting all these guys who are giving them second chances, and that's good though. That's good, especially like JP for example. JP just could not get it going in Philly, and I saw lots of potential with him this year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Huge glimpses.
Yeah.
And they were like streaks too. It wasn't like, oh, he had a really good game in March and a really good game in like he would go off for like 2 or 3 weeks. I think at one point in time there was a month somewhere in the season where he was hitting like around 300.
He was, yeah.
But the rest of
summer
there was
he
a lot of
got going.
There was a lot of lows for him too, so his average wasn't hot for the year, but I see a lot of good things.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think we're going to move on to our main topic of the video today. And that's the NFL draft that happened a couple weeks ago, and that really just brought the whole sports world together for that weekend because there's nothing else was going on. People were just dying for some sports content, and I think the draft was a huge hit this year, and we saw it because that was it was actually the highest viewed draft in the modern era, which I think that's
by
crazy
far, too.
Since they started doing the Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing, which I'm not a fan of, but yeah, that was crazy.
I think it's cool, but it was super cool to see. I don't know if there was a mixture of all these different kind of feelings about it. Like some people were just like, give me sports. Some people just love the NFL draft in general.
Yep.
And a lot of people were really interested to see on how they were going to do it. Because everything was like Zoom calls and Skype calls and all that kind of stuff. Everybody was in their own homes and everything. I saw that John Snyder, so with the Seahawks, he like knocked out like 5 different walls in his house or something like that. And they put 28 TVs in there.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
What kind of house even fits
That's
28
nuts.
TVs? That's nuts.
NFL GM just makes millions.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't see that many technical difficulties during it. Like there really weren't that many problems with it. I didn't see any like. I saw some awkward pauses like between like because there's always delay when you're talking to each other online.
Just the transitions, mainly.
Yeah, and someone like asks a question, and you just see the person sitting there like this.
Yeah, and majority of the time it was Roger Goodell, who is not a TV personality.
No, not at all.
Like,
not at all. He was a robot. He was a robot
little bit more
up there.
Emotion, enthusiasm.
It was always so funny when like he showed the fans like in the background, like you know how they always show that the pics. He showed the fans in the background on the screen.
Come
like
on, fans, we need more.
All right, 12s, let's go. Let's hear ya. That was so awkward. But overall,
I liked
it. It was funny. Yeah, it's good TV entertainment. It's just funny to watch, and
it was.
The thing is that the draft wasn't that exciting itself. It was not an exciting draft as we've seen as years past.
Right.
There weren't any crazy blockbuster trades. There weren't any crazy like people like passing up on a certain player. The first 6 picks were pretty much expected is what I was expecting when I was looking down the mock drafts and stuff.
The cornerback at pick 3 got me a little bit off.
Who are we expecting there?
Uh, I don't know. I just didn't see, because that was the Ohio State kid. I just didn't see them going defensive wise too high
The
off the bat.
Lions.
But yeah, like because I had heard rumbling going around of possibly getting
Okuda.
Stafford's backup.
Yeah, I
Because
heard Tua. I was hearing Tua rumors.
see, that would be really interesting. I felt like a Justin Herbert would fit perfect into the
Yeah,
Detroit Lions.
kind
Like
of like that
just throw the
Matthew
ball,
Stafford
son.
kind of. Yeah, yeah. He's got a cannon, but I also heard that Tua's dad didn't want him to go to Detroit, and
Oh,
Tua's got that overprotected daddy with him.
well, and it runs with the culture. Like there's no hit to the culture at all. That Polynesian culture,
Hmm.
it is family first and everything. So I bet you every organization knew that. And if his dad wasn't happy about it, I wouldn't take him either. Like it's like the Lonzo Ball situation. Like I wouldn't want that publicity.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's weird, but other than that, it was just pretty much just straight down the board what people predicted. Tua going to Dolphins. I think that's
Jordan Love.
Tua's a little bit fixed. Yeah, that's we'll get to that. That's crazy. Um, I don't even. Yeah, this. I was so shocked that they would even trade up for that. No
They,
one was calling that.
no, not at all. Like there was, in my opinion, there was two big whats with quarterbacks. It was him and Jalen Hurts. Not
Go round
necessarily
two.
Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts is like I think that he's going to be able to go and be a great asset to any team and all that stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of see him in
Yep.
that Taysom Hill role,
Yep.
kind of being able to go in and mix things up and
Yep.
everything. But to the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean,
Yeah.
I get the injuries with Carson Wentz, but how do you like that? Like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
we believe in you.
Yeah. But it's just Wentz he's gotten hurt every year. Last I think 3 years now.
Every year.
And last year in the playoffs, it showed right there because the offense against the Hawks, the offense couldn't do anything after Wentz was gone.
Oh, right,
But even
exactly.
then, Wentz
I
was
really think that I think they're gonna bring him in and do like a Taysom Hill package with
yeah
him, let
for
him
sure.
run a
He's
little
athletic.
bit,
Yeah,
and
but
then
he can
run him
sling
so
it
much
too.
that people just blitz
That's
every time.
that's the thing. He can sling it too. Like he can
Exactly.
throw the
Throw it
ball.
up and over the top. Yep.
But even Wentz though, he was pretty inconsistent last year. Like
Yeah.
he was all
I
over the
just
place.
I just I don't know. Big contract, big extension, and all that kind of stuff. It's always tough to see a team say
Yeah,
the the Packers one though is like
yeah, yeah. But we talked about this earlier. I think it's a big statement by the GM and the coach. What's his last name? I think
yeah.
Lafleur.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it's just those two saying like, oh, we can do this on our own. Like we can get our own guy and do the same thing because
Yeah,
Rogers was
like
picked by the last
it's our
president.
system that's winning
It's
games.
our
It's not
thing.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers. It's
Yeah.
our system. I feel you on that one.
Yep. Yep. So I think they're low key like starting to like be like, all right, let's start phasing Rogers out of this place. And
And I think Lafleur and Rodgers butt heads a lot. And so I think that they kind of see a Rodgers prototype in Jordan Love and saw their opportunity to be able to go get somebody that won't come along with the baggage, at least right now, of the superstar status.
see, I think they did butt heads a little bit. That's what I heard. I think both of them have big egos. You get Lafleur, the young head coach, first time head
Hmm.
coach, who's just trying to be this big hot shot, and then Rogers has always been kind of a like this jerk, cocky guy who thinks he's better than everyone. Which you know what? It's he backs it up honestly. Like
Yeah.
he plays outstanding every year, and um, but I think they definitely just want to move on eventually, and
Oh,
obviously
for
they want to
sure.
move on soon. Uh,
Well, and they've already done this before. Like when Brett Favre was getting to the end of his career, everybody was like, "Are you kidding me? They're getting rid of Brett Favre." But like,
that's people keep comparing that with to this situation, and I see it. I see it a little bit, but it's definitely different. It's different because
oh, for sure.
Rogers was being argued over of whether he should be the first pick or not between him and Alex Smith, and Niners ended up going Alex Smith,
Right.
and then Rogers falls all the way back to what was it 22.
Yeah, I believe so. Somewhere right around
So
there.
it's like at that point, Packers are like, well, if he's there, pick
Right.
him. But Jordan Love was never this. He was rumored to go in the top 10 at one point, but he wasn't ever being talked for the top spot. And
Right.
that's what makes this situation different than the other one. And that's what I think shocked people so much because like Rodgers still has a good 3 or 4 years left,
Yeah, definitely.
and they made it to the NFC Championship last year. I think, yeah, and it's just
I
I
wonder
don't
if it
know.
was a little bit of like they heard rumblings of somebody that was coming up here pretty soon in the next couple of picks. Were looking at him and they were going to go for him, and so that's why they traded up. Like they were
Mm,
like, "Hey, I think
yeah,
this is our chance. We need to go get him right now."
yeah, and I also heard that the Seahawks were talking to the Packers about trading back, but then
Right.
Packers found that spot. Well, it was only one spot ahead of the Seahawks, right?
Hmm. What were we? 27
Yeah, we were 27. Then they jumped ahead of us at 26th because
at 26.
Packers were originally 30, and then traded
Okay.
back with the Dolphins. See, that doesn't make sense.
Gosh.
You're going to jump us, like, and Dolphins are going to take him.
But that could have been
I don't see in,
the first team that like they could have traded with in between their pick and whoever was looking at
but
them.
listen, like, Packers were at 30. Okay, they trade up
Uh-huh.
26, 27, 26 was Dolphins. They're not
Uh-huh.
taking. They weren't taking Love. 27 Seahawks. They're not taking Love. 28
Uh-huh.
Baltimore. Not taking Love. 29 Tennessee. Not taking Love. They easily could have waited back. They easily could have
Yeah.
waited until 30 to take him.
But I'm
So
telling you, there had to have been some kind of rumblings, maybe Tennessee,
so maybe someone trade up to grab him.
or maybe so. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
someone
maybe
who's looking
someone
to
was looking
trade
to
up to
trade
grab
up.
him.
That's the thing. It's just such, but it's just such a gut punch to Aaron Rodgers that they would trade up to grab a quarterback when they had so many other areas of need that they could add to, and then because they made the NFC Championship for
Right.
freaking sake, like that's you were a
Yeah.
couple pieces away from beating the Niners, even though they got smoked, and I think everyone knows the Hawks would have given a much better challenge.
For sure. But
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. Yeah. They just needed to plug they need to plug some weapons with him, and I totally thought they were gonna go for it in the first round, but
yeah, no, crazy,
whatever.
yeah, because this is the wide receiver draft. We saw wide
Yeah.
receivers going off the board so much, and
Yeah.
a lot of them I think are going to be studs. Honestly,
Oh, for
I
sure.
watched the tape on
I
them, and I don't really have a bad feeling in any of them really. I think, um,
I'm so not excited to see CD Lamb with the Cowboys though.
yeah,
Some speed with him. I mean, Amari Cooper's got speed, but like now you put real speed with Amari Cooper,
yeah,
and
and Dak slinging it, and
yeah,
if he's back and he's on, is he holding out? I can't remember. Is he holding out
I,
or is or did he sign the tag?
he didn't sign the tag, but like I don't think there's necessarily like any holdouts right now because the season's not happening.
Yeah,
Like as of right now, it's not like going on and on stuff. But I think like technically he's holding out. Like if this whole pandemic wasn't going on, there would be stories about him holding out. But
yeah,
I don't
yeah, no, for sure, yeah. Well, yeah, so we can just move on to Hawks now and talk about um, our grades for the overall draft and each pick. And
yeah, for sure.
overall, I think I think it'll end up being a solid draft. Like right now, I don't think it looks like the best, but I think they got some guys that can definitely help them now and in the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, I think their biggest thing is that they more strengthened areas, especially with and like we're gonna talk about like with Jordan Brooks in the first round, they more strengthened the linebacker area than went
Hmm.
and helped out an area of need that they had.
Yeah,
So I think that that's an interesting play. It also makes me think that they're not quite done in free agency. Like there's some moves that are still to be done, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yep,
But I agree with you. It might not be exactly like as in this coming year. They're all going to make huge differences, but I think a lot of their draft picks are going to make really good contributions over
yep.
a long period of time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So going off that, we can go to the first pick, and that was Jordan Brooks, linebacker from Texas Tech. I gave that pick a B.
Okay.
I think when I watch Brooks' tape, I think he is athletic. He runs all over the field. I every game film I've watched of him, he plays to his hardest every
Hmm.
snap, and I love watching that. He needs some work. Definitely needs some work in coverage. He seems a little slow in coverage, but that's definitely fixable, and he can learn and get better at that. Block shedding, I see him get pushed back a lot, and that especially with NFL offensive linemen, that's not a good sign. Um, but other than that, those two things, and what else is kind of dropping his grade a little bit is that I think it wasn't. I see the Seahawks in win now mode, and I don't think this was a really a win now move because we still have a couple more years of KJ and Bobby. But this is definitely a pick for the next few years where they're like, okay, KJ and Bobby are going to be gone in a couple years, especially KJ. We'll have Bobby probably for another 3 or 4, I'm guessing. But KJ is going to be gone soon. We don't really know what we got in Cody Barton. So let's get a guy we like a lot and move on with that.
Yeah, for sure. On my end of things, and kind of going with you, I gave him a B plus,
Okay.
so kind of right around the same thing. And in my eyes, I think Jordan Brooks is an A. Like, I love the dude, just like you were saying. Watch game film, he flies. I saw a lot of stuff from the Texas Tech defensive coordinator, and they were talking about how they love him. The dude's a study in and out of the classroom, on the field, and all that stuff. He said that he would have multiple meetings with him a week. He set up meetings with the rest of the linebacking core to come and meet with their defensive coordinator to figure out their schemes for the next week and all that stuff. But along with you, I gave him a B plus because I thought that there were other areas of need that we could have gotten
Yep.
addressed rather than the linebacking. So kind of like a pick basis one with that one.
For sure.
But I love the dude. Like you said, fast. I mean, he flies around the field. He had a 4.54 40 at the combine, which for some reason was the only thing down for him on the for his stats and all that stuff for the combine. So I'm wondering if he really didn't do a whole lot with it. But I mean, he was all Big 12 his freshman through junior year, honorable mention, and then made the team his senior year and was second team all um, all nation, which was like all American. And I was like, okay, that's what's up. But like you said, has some coverage kind of difficulties to him because he didn't play a lot of it. Even though
Mm-hmm.
he was an inside linebacker, they ran what they like to call a 3-3-5 scheme. So a lot of times they were bringing pressure from the linebacking core to make up for only having 3 down linemen. And so sometimes they would shift their outside linebacker over onto like a slot person and he'd be coming off the edge. And so he actually had a lot of movement coming off the edge and a lot of blitzes coming off the edge, which makes me really excited because he's obviously not going to play middle linebacker for us. Like
Mm-hmm.
we
Yep.
have
At
this
least,
dude
at least,
called
at least,
Bobby
at least
Wagner.
from the start. At least from the start. He might eventually
Right.
move to that role eventually, but yeah.
Right.
No, yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
think he's going to move over there, but that what makes it even more beautiful. I think he's going to start on the outside, let Bobby obviously play middle linebacker, but now he gets to learn from Bobby Wagner too. Like he has golden cleats in Madden. He's a 99 overall. Like the
Yep.
dude's an unreal stud in the middle, and he kind of fits that mold too. He's not huge. He's
Mhm.
not ginormously oversized. I think I had him down at I think he's 6'1". Yeah, he's
I got
6'1",
yeah, I
245.
got six. I got 6 foot 240. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So six,
Not
six foot,
huge. Not
6'1",
huge at
something like
all.
that. He's not a beast. It's not like you're going to look at the quarterback when you're crouching down and be like, oh, that guy's huge, which Bobby Wagner isn't a beast either, but he
No.
flies around the field. He's a huge hitter. I mean, I watched some of the stuff and he lays the hammer. I mean, like, kind of like, I hate to say it, but almost like Cam Chancellor-esque hits.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he could be
I can see
the
that.
big
Yeah.
hammer that we're looking for.
Yep.
And so I'm actually really excited about him. But like you said, he's got to learn coverage better and he's got to learn zone coverage a lot better because the Seahawks play a lot of zone and his instincts and his feel, like being able to read a quarterback's eyes and feel where a wide receiver is and all that stuff isn't quite there. Cause like I said, he didn't play a whole lot of it and have to be relied upon on that. But I think he's going to develop it and I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and like you said, he loves learning the game. So he's
Yeah,
going to learn the Seahawks coverage schemes. I think really quickly,
for
and
sure.
by
Russ is
mid
going to love him.
season, I think we can see him like starting as an outside linebacker eventually. And
Definitely.
for anyone who's still like kind of doubting that pick, you just got to pull up his film against Oklahoma State this year. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched that, Mitch. He had 19 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble.
He was a beast.
He showed like just showed in that game. He showed. I think that game just elevated him. Lots of people were talking after that game. I read some articles that this game elevated him to that kind of first, second round status. And
Definitely.
and I think when
And
it
I
comes,
think
I'll keep
no,
going.
go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Well, I think when it comes to Pete and John, they like just to pick the best player on their board.
Yep.
And I think at the time, Brooks was that guy. And
Yep.
they're like, okay, this is who we want, and we're going to get him. I also think they were looking to trade back and they just couldn't find anyone to trade back with, and they were going to take Brooks later.
Yep.
But I also heard that the Ravens were wanting to pick Brooks, that pick, if he was still there at.
They wanted him over Queen.
Yep, exactly, and that's what everyone was complaining about. People were complaining that the Seahawks took Brooks over Queen, and it's just people don't like when Seahawks make these outlandish picks, but it's like the other teams knew that same thing. The Seahawks got to him first,
Yep.
so they're the ones who take the heat.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think a lot of why he wasn't a huge name at the draft and why it was like Jordan Brooks, who, all that stuff to everybody, including me. The first when they said Jordan Brooks, I was like, okay, Texas Tech, because they're really known for their defense. Not like
yeah.
it's like that's an interesting pick and all that stuff. But I read on him, and he actually ended the year last year with a pretty good shoulder injury, which actually limited a lot of his play at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And no matter what, if you got a substantial injury, you're not playing to full capacity, no matter what.
Not
So
all.
I guarantee you that a lot of it came from he didn't really finish out the year super strong.
Yeah. No, he had to sit out that last game at Texas, and he still put up crazy numbers and was on second team All American. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for him, especially down the road, and I think he'll definitely make a contribution this year. So let's move on to their second round pick, and that was Darrell Taylor out of Tennessee. Mitch, why don't you start off with this one?
Yeah, for sure. And this is a weird one for me. I've actually got two grades for him
Okay.
because I've got a grade without a signing coming at the defensive end and a grade with a signing coming at defensive end. As all of us know, and as I'm showing you, there's this dude named Jadeveon Clowney that we're still waiting on to see if he'll come back. I hope. But if we don't get him, Everson Griffin is supposedly kind of waiting for us on everything, but we haven't made a move yet. So without a move, if we do not sign a high-end defensive end, I'm giving this a B because I really like him. If we do end up in going and signing a defensive end, I'm giving it a C plus merely for the fact that if this guy's a backup really for right now, second round, I don't know if I really would have loved a defensive end and with the future picks that came up. But as of right now, in my eyes, he's a B. He is fast off the end of the line. I mean, he lined up defensive end majority of the time, everything extremely fast. His one knock is that he doesn't really have a lot of moves. He relies on his speed coming from the outside. He trusts his feet to be able to beat tackles off of the snap, and he has a pretty good jump off of his snap. This dude is built though. Like when there was all those memes coming around of Sean Oakman when he was like just standing there with his jersey as a crop top and everything. Not quite there. Like I don't look at him and visibly shake in fear, but he's a 6'4", 267, just built dude coming off the outside. He played for Tennessee, which if you don't know that is in the SEC, which if you don't know what teams are in the SEC, you got LSU, you got Alabama, you got Arkansas. As much as they got the big burly dudes on their line. The offensive lines for the SEC are phenomenal. So the fact that this guy was able to go and beat people off the line and just tear things up. He had 8 sacks in his senior year, 5 in his junior year. His senior year, he had 4 in one game. I mean, he just went off. And get this, he battled through injuries. He had a stress fracture in his shin his senior year, and he was still grabbing 8 sacks. He has a lot of experience in the 3-4 and the 4-3, which is good for us because we tend to run more of a 4-3. In fact, I think on one of my other sheets I had that we run about 48% of the time we run a 3 linebacker core. So a lot of 4-3 going on for us. So that's good that he has experience in both of them. He also had 46 total tackles and 10 tackles for loss his senior year. They showed a clip where there was a run going to the other side and they didn't block him because he's on the end of the line, which is a lot of times that's what happens. And he just busted straight down the line because he's just fast as can be, just flies through it. He has pretty good tackling when it comes to wrapping up the ball carrier and everything like that. But the one thing that they talk about over and over again is he doesn't really have a move to go to. He relies on being fast and he relies on being just a physical specimen. And they said that his hands don't fire very tough. And in a lot of his, if you watch his film and you watch a lot of his highlights, it's really just beating somebody off the ball and going inside him or something like that, or just being quick with his feet, which isn't going to happen a ton in the NFL. So he does have to develop some kind of true move.
Hmm.
And the other doc that I have on him is that in 2017, long time ago, so I get it, it could be, but he was actually suspended from his team for kicking a teammate in the face. Probably not the best thing in the world, but they talked about the fact that in 2017 was when Butch Jones was running the program, and they had a lot of docs on him on how he kind of let things go out of control. There was lots of things that were stirred up, not a whole lot of discipline on the team, so things kind of got riled up like that a lot. But also, if there's any team that can bring him in and say, "Dude, knock that crap off. We don't do that here," it's definitely the Seahawks. And he hasn't had any disciplinary action since 2017. So anybody can turn the corner and be ready to go. So I'm really actually excited about this dude.
Yeah, no, I agree with all you said. I actually have him down. I didn't go the extra mile and did 2 grades, but I have 1 grade for him. I actually gave him an A minus. I think I like this pick a lot, especially because obviously it's the highest area of need. I don't think he'll exactly be that number one pass rush guy right off the bat. That's why I think it's important we do sign like a Griffin or Clowney. But down the road, I think this guy can develop into an All Pro defensive end for sure. The my favorite stat that he had was that he was second in the SEC in tackles for losses and sacks each of the last 2 years, and that's not hard. That's not really easy to do. The SEC is known for their offensive line and their good players up and down the board. So I think that's one of the most impressive stats that I heard from this guy for sure. He has great speed off the edge, and like you said, that's really that's all he relies on. So definitely needs to develop that next move and multiple moves because you need that at the NFL level. Because you're not going to be facing college tackles in the NFL. These guys are going to be huge. They're going to know. They're going to know what move you're going to do, and if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's just not going to work. Yeah, but other than that, I agree with a lot you said. I thought maybe like what dropped his grade a little bit. Obviously, those two things, and then I was looking at Iowa's AJ Espinosa at that pick too.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him a lot, just because everything I watched about him, he was a winner, and he put up great numbers at Iowa, and a lot of the experts were thinking about that pick right there too. So, but I think Taylor is the faster of the two, and I think that's what Carroll and Schneider were focusing on this draft was making your defense faster because last year the defense just seemed slow for some reason, and that's not what we're used to.
Definitely,
So
and you saw that with the Jordan Brooks pick
yeah, so
too.
these first,
Queen,
yep,
a lot of people talk about Queen being the better coverage guy and all that stuff, which probably would have been maybe ideal for the zone base that we play a lot.
yep,
But Brooks is
yep,
by far
yeah.
faster.
These first two picks definitely addressed the speed issue this defense showed last year, and I like that's why I have these picks graded so high. So yeah, so let's move on to the third pick of the draft, and that was Damian Lewis, a guard out of LSU. I have it down as a B minus. Not much really to say about him. I think he's a great run blocker. He pushes guys around, makes holes easily. You saw like he played for LSU, so that he's a winner. That's what I like about him. He's a winner. He needs to work on his pass blocking for sure, though. I watched him get pushed around a lot in pass rush. Just needs to just be more stable when it comes to pass blocking. But other than that, I think he'll compete for a starting job day one, for sure. Just needs to get stronger in the pass block game, and I think the pick will work out. So that's why I have it down as a B minus. Nothing special, but a good around solid pick.
Hmm. Yeah, that's funny because I'm actually right there with you. I'm right at a B minus also. The first point that I put down when I was taking notes for him is right with you. LSU. He played for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow had 60 TDs in one season. I mean,
He doesn't
so
do that by himself. He
obviously,
doesn't do that by himself.
correct. And
Yep.
so obviously, no matter there's 5 dudes on the line, so obviously Damian Lewis doesn't do it by himself too, but he had to be some kind of part of it. But I do agree with you, not an amazing pass blocker. If you watch the draft, they show a highlight film for everybody that gets picked, and he had probably a good like 8 or 10 plays on there, and only one of them was a pass block, and it was like a guy beat him to the inside, and he kind of just chucked him because he's just so strong. So that worries me a little bit about pass protection. But I watched a lot of stuff. He is an amazing run blocker. They talk about the fact that, and especially at the guard level too, if you see a 3-4 defense, you're not going to see a guy over the top of you, and he was really good at working to the second level.
Mm-hmm.
He picked linebackers up
Yep.
and just put them into the ground, which was awesome. I think we're going to see a pancake buffet with him this year. We're going to be
Absolutely.
eating those pancakes every single game with him. which is awesome. I personally thought that the need for us was pass protection, not necessarily run blocking. So that's why I have him down at a B minus also.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be phenomenal on that end. He's pretty slow in his technique, his kick to get back off the line, which isn't detrimental as a guard because it's really a tackle that you need to kick with. But you still have to be quick with your feet and be able to move. They talked about the fact that he's slow to pick up blitzes. But the really good thing about that is that Russ, if you've played Madden at all, he has this cool perk X Factor where he picks up blitzes and it literally highlights a blitzer when it's coming. And he doesn't get that for fun. He sees blitzes really well in real life and he picks those up and he talks to his line all the time. So that'll help him with it and he'll get more development and everything. One of our friends that does a podcast of her own actually talked about the fact of being able to play with Dwayne Brown. The dude's a stud on the left side.
Shout out to Ashley
He's a
if you're
tackle.
listening.
Yeah, we love you, Ashley. Um, just because he's a tackle and Damian Lewis is a guard, it doesn't mean anything. Line is a line, so he's going to help him kind of pick up those stuff and everything. But what's going to be really cool is to see is that we're really going to bring back that smash mouth running. And actually, we never left the smash mouth running, but we didn't really have the line for smash mouth running, and we kept running it up the middle and getting like tackled for loss for 2 yards. I
Mm.
think this guy's really going to help with that, which is going to help our passing attack even more because we can run it a little bit better. So,
Yep.
so I'm
Yeah.
really excited
Yeah.
for him. But like you said, I was really kind of hoping for some bolster in the pass protection. But still, overall, it's going to be a really solid pick for us. Played for LSU. He is huge. I
Yep.
mean, I don't think I
It's a
I
big
didn't put
boy.
his stuff down, but I mean, this dude is just a brick house, and he's actually pretty quick around the outside. So I'm excited to see maybe he can pull a little bit, get to that second level. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a tackle at the spot, just because we don't really have a right tackle right now, and Dwayne Brown's getting older. But I'm okay with it
Right.
because we needed help down the line completely.
Yep.
Another thing I like about him is that I saw his vision was really good. I saw a lot of film where he wouldn't have anyone to block. He'd go find someone, and I think
Correct.
that's really important for offensive lineman to do. He
Yeah.
knows the spots where he's going, and if there's someone coming in his spot, he'll instantly go help someone out, and
Yep.
that's huge. And he has good,
Actually,
yeah,
I actually saw an interview with Coach O about that, and he was talking in his good old Louisiana voice. It was awesome. I love listening to him.
so
But he
good,
talked about how
yeah,
the dude he never settles. If he's not blocking somebody, a lot of times you'll see somebody, oh, I'm in doing something and I'm not blocking anybody. I'm gonna look like I'm doing something. But he talked about how he never settles. If he doesn't have somebody on him, he goes and finds them, and he
yep,
usually, especially in the run game, finds the right guy.
yep, for sure. All right, let's go move on to the fourth pick of the Seahawks, and that was Colby Parkinson, tight end out of Stanford. Mitch, what do you got?
Yeah. So I'm going back to back here. I actually have a B minus for Colby also. Um, Personally, tight end group probably wasn't a super need of ours, but the reason why he gets a pretty solid average grade with me too is because I don't really see him being a true tight end much.
Mhm.
He wasn't much at Stanford. He was not the really true tight end. I'm going to stick my hand in the dirt and I'm going to block you into the ground kind of thing. And then I'm also going to go for routes every once in a while. He was a stretch tight end. They like to play him in the slot a lot of times. He's from Stanford, and if you're getting it at Stanford, you're obviously smart. Like, it's simple as that. You got to have like 4.0s and stuff. So he's going to know the game. He's going to have intelligence to him. He's a huge red zone threat. He has a catch radius that is going to be ginormous. He's 7. I wish he was 7 foot. He's 6'7". Okay, he's 6'7", so that arm's length is going to be huge. He's only 251, so I'd like to see him bulk up a little bit. He's kind of lanky and gets pushed around a little bit sometimes, but he goes up and gets contested catches really, really well because of his length to him. His run block leaves a little bit more to be wanted, but like I said, I don't really see him being that hand in the ground tight end. I think he's going to come in on maybe 2 tight end sets and have tight ends on the same side, and he'll be the outside
Mhm.
guy going for some routes because we do have Greg Olson that can block and he's just fine with it. Will Disley can block just fine. Jacob Hollister can block just fine. I think we'll be fine with that. But I think we might even see him switch out to wide receiver, which would be really cool to see. He has I give him a plus on his route running. He comes in and out of his breaks extremely fluidly. He's got good speed to him. Like I said, he's not a huge build, but he will go up and get balls. You can throw it up to him, all that kind of stuff, be able to go get things. He had 4 touchdowns in 6 games as a freshman. He only played in 6 games, and he had 4 touchdowns, which I thought was pretty impressive. He had 7 his sophomore year. He came out as a junior, but he only had 1 touchdown, but he had 48 receptions for 589 yards his junior year, which is pretty good as a tight end, especially in a Stanford system and especially being split out and all that stuff. It leaves me a little bit more to be wanted as a red zone threat his last year, but he showed it in the years prior. And they also talked about how this year he really was the only threat on that receiving core, and so they honed in on him a little bit more. So I think that he's going to play a lot better because I mean, you get him out there with DK Metcalf and with Tyler Lockett,
Mhm.
they can't hone in on him. Like
Yeah,
it's simple as that. So I think he's going to be really good for seams down the middle, post routes, all that kind of stuff. Red zone threat, I think he really is coming in at.
yeah. No, I love this pick personally. I gave him an A actually. I think the most important thing right now to do is surround Russ with targets, with weapons. And I think Colby Parkinson does that exactly. He's someone that Russ can literally just lob to the end zone, go get it. And now we have two of those, and DK and him, and Colby himself. So I love this pick. Like you said, was a little bit down his last year, only 1 touchdown. But if you watched his highlights against Oregon State, he dominated that game. He had a touchdown there. He also threw for a touchdown, so multi-talented. I love it. He also comes from Stanford. Stanford's just tight end you. We see great tight ends come out of Stanford all the time. Zach Ertz, Colby Fleener, Austin Hooper. That place is known for having successful tight ends. So that's what I really like about it. And obviously, if he wants to be a true tight end eventually, needs to bulk up, needs to work on run blocking. But we don't need that right now. Really, we have 3 solid tight ends, or at least 2 of them who can do that fine, and Disley and Olsen. So I think this is a good pick, especially looking down the road to eventually develop him into that basic like regular tight end. But for now, he can be used situationally as a slot or outside guy in the red zone, and I think it will really work for the future. Looking at that, so yeah, I love that pick.
One more thing on him that I forgot to say. He played 3 years at Stanford. In his whole career at Stanford, he had 1 drop.
Yeah,
1 drop.
another great
The
thing.
kid's
Yeah,
hands are pretty good.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah. Also has a great flow.
Yes, that's true. This
You
is
can't
true.
argue with that. Like if you have a great flow, like you're instantly like up that notch a little bit.
That was like Luke Wilson. Like I feel like people loved him for his flow, and so
Yeah, no, it's
we're
great.
gonna
Yeah,
could we have the flow
the
bros?
flow bros maybe. Greg Olson got to get a flow. I'd love to
Oh,
see it.
I
I'd
could
love
see
to
a
see
mullet
it.
with Greg
Yeah.
Olson.
All right, let's get on to a few picks later. Seahawks took a running back in DJ Dallas. I gave that a C plus. So my first pretty low grade of the draft. He's 5'10", 217. So bulky. Only ran a 4.58 40. That's not like average, like okay for a running back, but you definitely usually want to see more speed.
Yep.
Um, Dude's a bulldozer though. Like he hits the hole so hard, and I love seeing that out of running backs. I don't like when I see running backs dancing around the backfield. I want to see hit the hole, one cut, go, and I think he does that really well. He had 693 yards and 8 touchdowns rushing as I think he came out as a junior, right, or was a senior, junior senior,
No, as a junior, I
junior.
believe.
Okay,
Nope,
yeah,
senior.
he was
Senior.
senior.
Came out as
Okay,
a senior.
yeah. So solid senior year. Also caught the ball. He played wide receiver at Miami, so I think he'll be a good third down option for that reason. And he's also really good in pass protection. He takes on blocks really well. And I think with the type of offense the Seahawks like to run, I think that's a really big plus. A guy who can catch the ball out of the outfield, out of the backfield, and can pass protect really well. So I think he'll definitely see some snaps this year for sure. Definitely needs to develop more moves though, because he won't be able to get away with just running over guys in the NFL. They're going to be bigger and stronger. So if he develops more moves rushing, and can see the holes a little bit better, I think he'll be a solid piece down the road. The reason why it drops a little bit is because I don't think we needed a running back at this point. I think it would have been better if we brought on more of a veteran piece. So, but it's like it's all right though. He's good friends with Travis Homer, and I think that's pretty cool too. I think those two will. I think that will elevate his game a little bit for sure, since he has someone he knows on the team. Um, but yeah, other than that, C plus, mostly because just running back wasn't that good of a need. but I think DJ will be a solid piece down the road.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go with you, but I'm actually gonna go a little bit deeper. I'm not thrilled with this pick really at all. I'm giving him a D. One, because I saw today that Marshawn Lynch is in talks with the Seahawks to come back, which, hey, I'm all about that beast mode. So if Marshawn Lynch is already in the room, there's a bruiser right there. All he
Mm-hmm.
does is run over people, or at least try. Chris Carson, already a bruiser. He tries to run over people. He is faster, though, and he does have cuts and he does have that stuff to him, but he's a bruiser. He can get you that short yardage kind of stuff. Rashad Penny can get you short yardage. He does like to rely on his speed a little bit more. And then, like you said, he's got Travis Homer, who is his speed guy already. Pretty crowded running back room already. I did not see the need for this pick. One of the things that makes Seahawks fans so mad, or at least my dad when I watch with him, is when people fumble the ball, and we do it a lot. He had ball security issues. He had 4 fumbles in only 109 carries. In 2008, he did better in 2019, but he also didn't play all of his games in 2019 because he suffered from a dislocated elbow. So that doesn't help. That's tough to come back from. Like you said, he's got average speed with a 4.58. He was converted. He was a quarterback in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Came
That's
in,
right. Yep. Yep.
got converted to a wide receiver when he got to Miami, and then they eventually said that you're going to move to running back, which I think is great. He's got experience catching the ball and all that stuff, but it also makes me really interested on why he got moved around so much. He's only 5'10", which isn't terrible, but it also isn't completely going to run you over kind of thing. He's 5'10", 217, so it kind of comes in like a cannonball that's going to run over you. Like you said, he does have great pass coverage. They talked about his short burst with his hands, being able to pick up blitzers and everything like that. He is a one cut kind of guy. So he gets out, he makes one move, and then he's done for his whole run, which is okay if you have extreme bruising speed, but I just don't see it. He is hard to bring down, which is going to be awesome for the short yardage stuff if he gets some time. But like we talked about, I feel like we already had those short yardage guys. So
Mm-hmm.
competition is great in any room, but I just didn't see the need to go get competition this early in the draft and not sign it after the draft. But to me, I think, like you said, he might be a decent third down option. He might be able to come in and pass block just fine. They did talk about how he does have return experience in both the kick and punt return. But there's also a guy later in the draft that we're going to get to who I think has a lot better experience and is going to be a really good option. And we still have Tyler Lockett and Travis Homer and all that stuff. But
David
uh,
Moore can
yeah,
return too. Yeah.
and David
Yep.
Moore. Only 693 yards his senior year, which isn't terrible. But if we remember, Rashad Penny had over 2,000. Granted, he played in a much easier league, in my opinion. But I think we already had the dude that put up the numbers on stuff, and he only had 140 receiving yards. Which, if he's going to be a receiving threat, I'd like to see more in that. But I'm just not super thrilled about that. But I hope he proves me wrong. I
Yep.
hope that he comes out and just absolutely blows it away.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, we definitely agree on some of the same points there for sure, and hope for the best for him, obviously. All right, moving on. Round five. Alton Robinson, defensive end from Syracuse. Mitch, we got.
Yeah. First of all, I don't like that we agree so much. I want to banner a little
We
bit,
got
but
to. We got to. But
we have
yeah,
such similar
I'm
thoughts.
sure
Hopefully,
down the
maybe
road when it gets a little deeper, we will for sure.
I'm gonna say
No,
maybe
no
I'll throw you off
question.
here because I'm actually going to give Alton Robinson an A minus.
Okay.
Um, I think that this was a really good pick. I think that at this point in time in the draft, it was extremely good too. Whether we picked Taylor at the second round or not, I think this was a really good pick. This dude is a go pin your ears back and get me the quarterback kind of thing. He is a pass rush specialist. He, just like Taylor, is pretty well built. He's 6'4", 260. He has an extremely quick burst off the line, reads snaps really well. Could that be the fact that the quarterbacks they were playing were mediocre and fell into the same snap counts or the offensive coordinators or whatever? I don't care because he's fast as can be off the line, so I'm totally fine with that. He does struggle in the run. He stands up a lot when he gets engaged. He finds himself getting engaged with an offensive lineman and peeking and trying to see the run rather than feeling it and staying engaged with them. And especially in the NFL, once he stands up and gives him that chest, he's going to get driven off the ball and not be able to get to that. But that's something that he can work on. But I'm really excited about his pass rush specialties. He did He also, like our other D end, he does have a little bit of an off-field problem. He actually got charged with battery coming out of high school, which lost him his scholarship to Texas A&M. He ended up going to a junior college. I cannot remember the name of it right now, which I'm really upset about. But he had 14 sacks there. Junior college or not, 14 sacks in a year. That's awesome. He then transferred and came over and got 5 sacks in his sophomore year, 10 sacks in his junior year, and he had 4.5 his senior year.
Mm-hmm.
You might think and say, oh man, 4.5 after the 10. Well, 10's pretty up there. And the 4.5 is because when you're a senior and you're the dude, you get double teamed. It's just like Jadeveon Clowney. Um, but I think that he's got a really strong physical build to him and he's got moves. He's not just depending on his speed. He loves to go up and under. And when I talk about up and under, he starts to go to the outside, gets his foot planted, and makes some kind of move to come back underneath his tackle, which throws off the quarterback and lets him get there quicker.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to go with the club and rip move. So he throws his right hand or his left hand into the offensive lineman and is able to come through and be able to make a move on it, which I love to see that he already has moves developed. He looks for the strip sacks, which is awesome to see. He had a couple of them his senior year. And I think what's going to be really cool to see with him is he's going to be a really good, we called it a jet option in my high school. Basically, my defensive coordinator would jump out of his mind on the sideline yelling out jet, jet, jet. And it was basically third and long situations when we knew they were going to throw. And we sent in our defensive line who their job was to just go get the quarterback. And I think that's going to be really awesome to see for the Seahawks. His length is a little bit below average. So I have a little bit of worry of him being able to separate from an offensive lineman with his lack of length. But I think he's going to make up for it with his speed, with his moves, with his power. I'm as you can tell, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm right around there with you. I'm at a B. I'm sorry, we just can't disagree. I think for a fifth round pick, it's as solid as you can go. Like at that point, you're just looking for guys who can give you some snaps off the bat, and eventually maybe turn into a solid rotation guy. He's got good size. His arms a little short. That's what I'm a little concerned about him eventually down the road. He's fast, like you said. He's got great burst of speed off the ball. His best year was the sophomore year where he had 10 sacks, only 4.5 last year. So that might be a little bit like concerning, but it's probably not. It's probably nothing. Just maybe a little less opportunity this year to get to the quarterback. You did mention his off the field issues, but that's Pete and John's specialty. They pick those guys all the time, and I haven't seen really any problems from those specific guys that they've picked in the past. The one downside I have with him is that once his first move doesn't work, he's kind of done. So I think he can definitely work on that. Like he's got good speed, he's got that good first move, but it's that second move that he needs to work on. And I see him kind of give up after that first move doesn't work, and his work ethic has been kind of questioned by some analysis and coaches around the league. So I want to see improvement in that. But as a fifth round pick, it's solid. You can get something out of that if he's a rotation piece. That's a good pick. So I like it. Solid B. All right, let's move on, and we're about at an hour, so we're gonna go through these last two picks pretty quick.
Yep.
Round 6, we got Freddie Swain, wide receiver out of Florida. I gave that a C plus. He could be a solid slot guy down the road. He's fast. He ran a 4.46. Not the crispest route runner in the world. He kind of rounds at routes a little bit, and I didn't like seeing that, especially if you're going to be that future slot guy. Definitely needs to work on that. That's his downside. I don't think we should have gone wide receiver right here, especially with drafting Colby Parkinson, who can be that wide receiver. I would have liked if we went DB here, since we haven't picked a DB in the draft yet, and I think Pete and John have a really good knack of drafting DBs, and I bet they could have found one at this spot, or maybe there wasn't, but I was expecting DB here. Also, what raises grade a little bit is that he's a quality punt return option. Like you said, this is the guy we were going to talk about. I think we can throw him back there on punt returns or kick returns, so we don't have to have Tyler Lockett back there, especially since Tyler Lockett's turning into the star player that we need. We need him on offense, and if we find another better option on punt return, then I think that's really important moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him too. Like a wide receiver probably wasn't a huge need for us, but I'm gonna give it a B minus,
Okay.
because of his return capabilities that he has. They like him in the slot. They say he's fearless over the middle, although he does tend to shy away from contact sometimes. He also lets the ball get more to his body and kind of
Mhm.
cradle things instead of
Body
sticking his
catches a
hands and
lot. Yep, I
sticking it.
saw that too. Yep.
Yep. But that's totally that's fixable. That's something they can do. His route running gets more freestyle than really sticking to what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Once again, something they can work with. His senior year, he only started 6 games. He did play in all 12, but he had 7 TDs and 517 yards. They talked about him being a big play kind of thing. You needed him to do something, he would go and do it. I think that he's got to get a little bit tougher. I think he's got to use his hands a little bit more and really get more discipline with his route running. But he's got a good burst off the line. He's got a good catch radius, and I think he's going to be something to be excited about in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah. And once again, when you're getting to the later rounds, you're finding either guys who had good production in college or has that potential to turn into something bigger. And I think
For sure.
uh, Freddie's definitely one of those guys who can turn into something bigger down the road. And then finally, we traded in back into the draft. You knew Pete and John weren't done after
Definitely
that
not.
6th round. They weren't done. They weren't done. So they traded in to get
I wish they were.
to grab to grab the 251st pick, and Steven Sullivan, a tight end out of LSU. And I have that as a C minus. And I'm probably being a little, um, yeah, I probably should have gone lower here. I'm too nice of a guy to go
That
anything
was
lower
pretty
than this.
gracious.
Yeah, it's pretty gracious. I'm too nice of a guy to go anything lower than that. But he's a big body. He's 6'5", 248. He's pretty fast. He can definitely play wide receiver, if we need him to. And I think that's what their plan is, because I saw even some sites had him listed as a wide receiver. So he's definitely that dual threat type of body out there. He didn't have that much production at LSU. That's the thing, and such a high powered offense. He only had 12 catches for 130 yards his final season
No
there,
touchdowns.
and no touchdowns. So
There were 60 of them on that offense, and he didn't have
so
a single one.
that's a big if factor there. I don't know why. I'll go deeper into the game film and see how they use him. Maybe they use him as a blocker more than anything. Um, but he definitely has his solid potential to turn into another big target for Russ. Like slim down a little bit maybe if you're going to be a wide receiver. Slim down, get faster, because right now he's like too small to be a tight end, but he's too big and kind of slow to be a wide receiver. So
Hmm.
that concerns me for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I what brought us getting up a little bit too. If you saw his reaction to getting drafted, I think that was awesome. So
It
I
was.
think I loved that.
Heartfelt.
I've loved the excitement he had, where he's just like, "Coach, quit playing me, quit playing me." I love that.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
C minus for me. Probably could have gone lower, but I'm being a little gracious with my man,
Yeah.
Steven Sullivan.
I'll help you out here. Pete and John, if you're watching, nothing against you. I hope you are watching. That would be so awesome. But I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one an F.
Oh,
This is an F for me.
oh,
Didn't need another tight end, in my personal opinion. As Brooks can attest to, I really wanted Thaddeus Moss if we were gonna go
yep,
for an LSU tight end.
yep.
So I'm really kind of upset that it wasn't Thaddeus. But like we talked about, he had no touchdown. He only had 130 yards in 14 games. He can be that big receiver option, but we already had Colby Parkinson. He was converted to a tight end in college, but they started to talk to him about being a tight end, and he did not want to be. It wasn't until he got to the Senior Bowl in high school that he thought, oh, maybe I could, and he didn't listen to his high school coach. So that makes me a little bit leery of moving him back and all that stuff. They did use him a lot with blocking. They would like to stretch him out wide and block out there. He would swing out and be that kind of screen blocking kind of guy. So maybe that's what they're looking for. He does have a good attitude to him. They said that he's a very team first kind of guy, but I just not super thrilled with the pick. He's a 4.66 speed, so it's not like he's gonna blow people off the line. And I mean, like I said, there were 60 touchdowns in that offense, and he didn't have a single one of them.
Mhm.
There's got to be something to that. So I'm head scratcher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe they'll find a spot for him. I could see him being on the practice squad to start the year for sure, though. If not, they might end up just cutting him. But I didn't really see the reason in having to trade it back into the draft to grab him. If they
yeah,
wanted to grab a tackle that was still on the board for him, I don't know. But they just Pete and John sometimes I feel like they like, oh, we need to make a pick, but really
Right.
did they really need to? They probably could have grabbed this guy as unsigned, unless there were teams already calling him
Definitely.
stuff. But all right, so
Right.
final grades, I got them down for a solid B minus. I thought they did a great job in the first few rounds of addressing the defense because that was obviously our weakness last year. Teams would just run up and down the field on us, and I hated watching it. So
Yep.
we addressed the defense, put more speed on it, and towards the later end of the draft, that's when the grades started to kind of drop a little bit, just because I feel like there were more needs we could have taken care of. But obviously, later rounds, you're not necessarily like getting those guys who can fill in right away. So overall, I think it was a solid draft, and I think we'll see these guys as a few of these guys as starters going down the road for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna give it an overall. I'm actually gonna give it a B, just because I'm really excited about our first couple picks that we had. I'm actually really excited for Jordan Brooks, and I want to see him. I want to see him wear the number one. I want to see it. It would be awesome. Fly around and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty excited about Colby Parkinson. So I think we had a pretty solid draft. I'm with you on. I'm still really scratching my head on Dallas and Sullivan, and so I think that's what kind of left me at that B range. But overall, I think it was a pretty solid day, and I'm really hoping that those guys prove us wrong. And in years back, we come and look at this thing, and it was an A plus draft.
For sure. Yeah. Well, all right, guys. So we're kind of hit that time limit we had, went a little over. I seriously thank you guys if you guys tune in to watch this. We really hope to grow this into something where we get some viewers every week. I had lots of fun doing this for the first time. I know Mitchell probably did too.
Oh yeah,
We hope we were recording this today. We're recording this on Tuesday, and I hope to have this out on usually on Wednesdays, going down the road. Pretty much whenever we have time to. So sometimes in the middle of the week, be expecting an episode from us. And we even after quarantine, we're going to try to continue this too, just because it's a whole lot of fun for us, and we'll be posting it to YouTube every week. And if you guys are watching it, please leave a like down below and subscribe to keep up with us. Turn notifications on because it's the likes and subs that will get us noticed on YouTube. And we want to get noticed. Obviously, we want to be famous. That's the
definitely,
goal. We want to blow up. So like the
definitely.
video if you guys enjoyed it. Mitchell, got anything else?
No, for sure. And feel free to leave comments. Like if you got
Yeah.
things you want to see something, if you've got topics that you want us to talk about, we love to talk. As you can
Mm-hmm.
tell, we went a little bit over our time limit. I love to talk in general. Um, leave us some suggestions. If you want to hear about something certain, let's do it. Leave us comments. Even if it's just that, hey guys, I really enjoyed your podcast. That stuff keeps us going. So we would love to hear from you guys. Give us hints if you want to shoot us a text or whatever. If you're personal friends with us, love to hear from you guys.
Yep. And I'll be making social media accounts for this as well. So interact with us with us on that, and they'll all be at I5 Sports Ride. And yeah, so that's going to do it for episode 1, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Later.